Life in Sweden. Beautiful women, $500 budget, and the world's most shocking taboos. Did you know you could experience all the beauty and luxury of Sweden, live like a local, and still stay within a $500 budget? Yes, you heard that right. White Sweden, a country often associated with high living costs, can actually be surprisingly affordable if you know where to go and how to do it. But here's the kicker. There is a shocking taboo here that will completely change the way you look at social norms and personal boundaries. Think you know everything about Sweden? Well, think again. Let's be real for a second. Sweden is a land of stunning landscapes, from crystal clear lakes to the snowy peaks of the mountains. It's known for its chic, stylish people, and yes, some of the most beautiful women in the world. But what if I told you that you can enjoy all this beauty, dive deep into Swedish culture, and still live comfortably on a budget? Whether it's eating at the best street food stalls, staying in cozy, budget-friendly accommodations, or even navigating a city like Stockholm without draining your wallet. There is a way to experience Sweden on a budget that'll leave you asking why you didn't know about this sooner. But that's not all. In Sweden, there's one social taboo that's so shocking, it might just leave you speechless. It's something most outsiders don't expect, but once you see it, you'll understand why it's a key part of Swedish life. And trust me, you'll never look at social interactions the same way again. This isn't your typical travel video. Stick around, because I'm about to show you how you can enjoy a luxurious Swedish experience on a shoestring budget. Reveal a cultural norm that'll make you question everything, and leave you amazed by what is truly possible in one of Europe's most fascinating countries. Ready to find out how? Let's jump in. Sweden. A land of natural beauty and beautiful women, Sweden is a country that captivates visitors from all around the world, not only with its breathtaking landscapes, but also with the people who call it home. It's a place where nature as beauty seems to blend seamlessly with the stunning physical features of its residents. When people think of Sweden, they often imagine vast forests, glittering lakes, and the northern lights dancing across the sky. But it's not just the scenery that's striking. Sweden is also home to some of the most beautiful people you'll find anywhere. There's a reason why Swedish women, in particular, are often regarded as some of the most attractive in the world. Sweden's reputation for beauty is not just about appearances. It's deeply connected to the country's way of life. From the food they eat to the lifestyles they lead, it all contributes to the health and beauty of the population. Swedish beauty standards are centered on a natural, healthy, and well-balanced approach to life. Unlike places where extreme beauty ideals are emphasized, Sweden's culture encourages a more laid-back, holistic approach. It's not about being flawless, it's about embracing one. It's natural features while living a life focused on health and well-being. The beauty of Swedish women. Let's start by talking about the physical traits that make Swedish women so universally admired. On average, Swedish women tend to be taller than many other populations around the world. The average height of Swedish women is around 5'7", which gives them a statuesque look that stands out, especially in a crowd. Swedish women often have fair complexions, light eyes, and naturally blonde hair. While this has become an iconic stereotype, it's important to note that Sweden is an incredibly diverse country. With people of different backgrounds and appearances, especially in major cities like Stockholm and Gothenburg. Of course, beauty is subjective, and the standards here are shaped by culture as much as genetics. Swedish beauty isn't about being overly glamorous or adorned. Instead, it's more about a simple, clean, and fresh looks, something that radiates confidence and health. Sweden has a strong fashion and modeling industry, and Swedish women have made their mark internationally in these fields. Many of the top models and actresses come from Sweden, and their global success has only solidified the country's reputation for producing some of the most beautiful people in the world. Global recognition in fashion and modeling. Swedish women have taken the fashion and modeling industries by storm. High-profile names like Elsa Hosk, Victoria Silvstedt, and Frida Gustafsson have walked the runways of top designers, graced magazine covers, and become household names. Elsa Hosk, for instance, is a Swedish model who became a Victoria's Secret angel. which is a significant achievement in the fashion world. Her striking features, along with her grace and poise, embody the Swedish beauty ideal, effortless and natural, yet undeniably captivating. Sweden's fashion scene itself plays a big part in shaping the perception of Swedish beauty. The Swedish fashion industry is globally recognized, and Stockholm is home to some of the most innovative designers in Europe. The style in Sweden is minimalist, with a focus on functionality, quality materials, and timeless designs. Swedish women are known for their ability to dress in a way that highlights their best features without overdoing it. Think clean lines, well-tailored clothes, and a touch of Scandinavian cool. This sense of style contributes to the overall image of Swedish women as fashionable and beautiful, but in a more understated way compared to some other fashion capitals of the world. A culture of wellness and fitness. Beauty in Sweden isn't just about appearance, it's about a lifestyle. Sweden's culture places a significant emphasis on health, fitness, and wellness, and this plays a huge role in how people look and feel. Exercise is a regular part of life here, and Swedes are passionate about being active outdoors. Whether it's hiking in the mountains, skiing in the winter, or simply going for a walk through one of Sweden's many national parks, physical activity is a natural part of the everyday routine. This active lifestyle contributes to the overall well-being of the population, which in turn impacts physical appearance. Fitness isn't seen as something people do just to look good. It's a way of life that helps to maintain a strong, healthy body. Swedish women, in particular, are known for their balanced approach to fitness. They don't push themselves to extreme limits, but instead focus on activities that keep their bodies in shape while promoting overall health. Yoga, Pilates, swimming, and cycling are common activities. And many people also enjoy a good workout at the gym or a brisk walk in the crisp Swedish air. The Swedish approach to beauty also includes a focus on skincare, with many people using natural products to maintain their skin's health. Sweden is known for its skincare brands that use simple, effective ingredients, and many Swedish women take a minimalistic approach to makeup. The focus is on enhancing natural features rather than covering them up. It's not unusual to see women with no makeup at all, confidently walking through the streets, embracing their natural beauty. Real-life examples of Swedish women in various industries. While beauty is certainly a big part of Sweden's reputation, it's important to remember that the country's women are also making significant contributions in a wide range of industries. Sweden is one of the leading countries when it comes to gender equality. And Swedish women have taken on leadership roles in everything from business and politics to sports and entertainment. The emphasis on equal rights and opportunities for women in Sweden has allowed women to thrive in every field. Take, for example, the world of business. Annika Falkengren, former CEO of SEB Group, is one of Sweden's most successful businesswomen. Under her leadership, SEB grew into one of the most prominent financial institutions in Sweden. Her achievements are a testament to the fact that Swedish women are breaking barriers and excelling in traditionally male-dominated industries. In the world of politics, Sweden has produced some incredible female leaders, including former Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson. Her leadership has been groundbreaking, showing the world that Swedish women are not only beautiful, but also powerful and influential. Even in sports, Swedish women have left their mark. Tennis star Sofia Arvidsson, for instance, achieved great success on the international stage. In fact, Swedish women's soccer is known for being one of the best in the world. With many players competing at the highest levels, both in international tournaments and in major leagues around the globe, famous personalities representing Swedish lifestyle. Sweden has also produced several famous personalities whose beauty and success reflect the Swedish way of life. Actress Alicia Vikander, who won an Academy Award for her role in The Danish Girl, is a perfect example. Not only is she known for her beauty, but she also represents the modern Swedish woman, talented, down-to-earth, and effortlessly graceful. Alicia's career has taken her from Sweden to Hollywood, where she continues to gain recognition for her acting prowess. Another example is pop star Zara Larsson. She first gained international fame with her hit songs and became a voice for young women everywhere. She's known for her powerful voice, Zara is also an advocate for women's rights and equality, using her platform to speak out on issues important to her. These women, along with many others, reflect the diverse and empowered women of Sweden. They show the world that Swedish beauty is not just about looks, but about strength, intelligence, and a commitment to making the world a better place. Sweden isn't just a country full of stunning landscapes and breathtaking views. It's a place where beauty and lifestyle come together in perfect harmony. The country's emphasis on health, fitness, and natural living shapes the physical appearance of its people, particularly Swedish women who are known for their effortless beauty and elegance. From high-fashion runways to leadership roles in business and politics, Swedish women are proving that beauty is just one part of who they are. In Sweden, beauty is about living a balanced, healthy life, embracing your natural features, and being confident in who you are, something that is truly admirable and inspiring to people all around the world. Breaking the stereotypes. Is Sweden really that expensive? So, the first question that comes to mind, can you really live in Sweden on $500? This is what we're going to find out. Sweden, often thought of as a wealthy, expensive country with sky-high living costs, can actually be much more affordable than most people realize. If you've been under the impression that a visit to Sweden requires a hefty bank account, I'm here to break down that stereotype and show you that. With the right approach, you can experience this beautiful country on a budget. It's true that Sweden is known for its high standard of living. In many ways, it's seen as one of the most developed and wealthy countries in the world. People often picture chic cities like Stockholm, with its trendy shops, elegant cafes, and stylish residents. It's easy to assume that everything in Sweden comes with a hefty price tag. When we think of Scandinavia, expensive is often the first word that comes to mind. Whether it's the cost of housing, dining out, or transportation, it seems like Sweden would be impossible to enjoy without spending a lot of money. But here's the catch. This stereotype isn't entirely true. While it's true that Sweden isn't the cheapest country out there, it's absolutely possible to live here on a smaller budget. You just need to be a bit clever with your money and know where to look.
Think about it.
Even in expensive countries, there are ways to make things more affordable. In this section, I'll show you how a $500 budget can actually take you a long way in Sweden. And I'll share some practical tips on how to make the most out of every dollar. Trust me, with the right strategies, you'll be surprised how far your $500 can go. Finding affordable accommodations, the first thing on your mind when visiting a new country is probably where you're going to stay. In Sweden, like many other countries, the cost of accommodation can vary widely depending on where you are. If you're looking to stay in the heart of Stockholm, for example, prices can be quite high, but don't panic just yet. There are plenty of affordable alternatives if you know where to look. One of the best ways to save on accommodation is by using platforms like Airbnb. If you book in advance, you can find a comfortable and affordable room or even an entire apartment at a fraction of the cost of a hotel. Often, local hosts offer cheaper rates than large chains. This not only saves you money, but also gives you a chance to live like a local. If you're open to sharing space, hostels can also be a great option. Sweden has a wide variety of hostels, particularly in major cities, that offer clean and well-located accommodations for much less than a traditional hotel. Many of these hostels offer dorm-style rooms, but some also provide private rooms at affordable prices, perfect for solo travelers or couples. Another option is couchsurfing, where you can stay with a local for free. While this requires a bit of planning and trust, it's a great way to save money and get an insider-esque look at the local culture. Even if you're not into couchsurfing, there are often budget-friendly options like university dorms available during certain seasons, especially in cities like Gothenburg and Uppsala. Eating on a budget next. Let's talk about one of the biggest costs when traveling: food. If you think eating out in Sweden means expensive meals every day, think again. Sure, dining at fancy restaurants will put a dent in your wallet, but you can still experience Swedish cuisine without breaking the bank. The key is to look for local grocery stores and food markets where you can buy fresh ingredients for cheap. In Sweden, stores like ICA Lidl and Coop are popular for offering affordable grocery options. You'll find plenty of fresh vegetables, bread, and Swedish staples like herring, cheese, and cured meats, all at reasonable prices. With a little creativity, you can make meals that are not only delicious, but also cost-effective. For example, a traditional Swedish smorgasbord can be made at home with simple ingredients like rye bread, pickled herring, and potatoes. It's an authentic experience, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. Street food is also a fantastic way to enjoy Swedish flavors, while sticking to a budget. Swedish street food is incredibly diverse and offers some delicious, affordable options. You will find food trucks or small stands selling everything from Swedish hot dogs to cinnamon buns. These are inexpensive snacks that will keep you full while giving you a taste of local culture. If you're visiting a city like Stockholm or Malmö, you can often find food markets or food halls where local vendors offer affordable, tasty meals. These spots are perfect for grabbing a quick bite. You'll find everything from meatballs to falafel, all for a good price. If you're in a larger city, look for the food markets there, often cheaper than eating in restaurants, but just as delicious. Now let's talk about getting around. Sweden is known for its excellent public transportation system, which is not only efficient, but also relatively affordable compared to some other European countries. Whether you're traveling within the city or going between cities, Sweden has a variety of options that can keep your transportation costs down. In major cities like Stockholm, Gothenburg, and Malmö, public transportation is your best friend. Sweden's metro, bus, and tram networks are well developed and easy to navigate. A single ride on public transport is usually quite affordable, and you can save even more by purchasing a day pass or multi-ride ticket. If you're planning to explore a city extensively, the day passes are a great deal. Plus, they give you unlimited travel within the city for a certain period of time. It's usually 24 to 72 hours, depending on the pass. For longer trips between cities, consider taking the bus or the train. While Sweden's train system can be expensive at times, booking your tickets in advance can help you score some great deals. There are also budget bus companies like Flixbus that offer comfortable, long-distance travel at a fraction of the cost of trains or planes. If you're planning on visiting a few different cities, a bus or a train pass can be a great way to save money. You will all be surprised how far $500 can take you in Sweden if you follow a few simple tips. With affordable accommodations, street food, and efficient public transportation, you can easily stretch your budget while still enjoying everything Sweden has to offer. Whether you're planning to explore the beauty of Stockholm's Old Town hike in the mountains, or just enjoy a cozy fika at a local cafe, there's no reason why you can't make it all happen without spending a fortune. So, next time you hear someone say that Sweden is too expensive to visit, remember this: smart budgeting and a little bit of planning can make this beautiful country much more affordable than you think. With just $500, you can experience the culture, food, and stunning landscapes of Sweden without feeling like you're missing out. It's all about making the right choices and knowing where to go. Ready to take the plunge? Your Swedish adventure might just be more affordable than you thought. Stockholm on $500. How to make the most of a weekend Stockholm. The capital of Sweden is often seen as an expensive city, and for good reason. With its stunning architecture, picturesque waterfronts, and rich history, it can be easy to assume that everything in the city comes at a high price. But here's the thing: Stockholm might look expensive, but with some smart planning and a bit of creativity, you'll find it's completely manageable on a $500 budget. Whether you're staying for a weekend or a few days, you can have a great time in Stockholm without spending a fortune. Let's break it down into three main areas: accommodation, food, and cultural experiences. The first thing you need to figure out when planning a trip to Stockholm is where you'll stay.
Sure.
Staying in the heart of the city can be expensive, but that doesn't mean you're stuck with a huge hotel bill. There are plenty of budget-friendly accommodation options if you know where to look. One of the best ways to save money on accommodation is by choosing hostels. Stockholm has several clean and comfortable hostels where you can book a bed for a fraction of the price of a hotel. These hostels are often located in central areas, so you won't be far from the city's main attractions. If you want more privacy, you can also find private rooms in some hostels, which are still more affordable than hotels. Airbnb is another great option for budget accommodation. You can find rooms or even entire apartments available for rent in Stockholm. They're often cheaper than staying in a hotel. The key here is to book early, as the most affordable places tend to fill up fast. Look for accommodations outside of the city's most tourist-heavy areas to save even more. Some neighborhoods, like Sektormum or Kungsholmen, offer good options that are still close to the main attractions, but at a lower price. If you're open to a more adventurous option, consider couchsurfing. This is where you stay with a local for free. While it requires a bit more planning and trust, it's a great way to save money and get an insider's perspective on the city. Plus, you get to meet people who live in Stockholm and learn about their favorite local spots. When choosing where to stay, you might wonder if it's better to find accommodation in a central location or opt for somewhere a bit further out. The truth is, staying in the heart of Stockholm can be expensive, but it's also very convenient. You'll be close to the major attractions, so you won't have to spend money on transportation to get to them. However, if you're willing to stay a little outside of the city center, you'll find cheaper options. And Stockholm's excellent public transportation system makes it easy to get to the main sites. In the end, it depends on your priorities whether you'd prefer to save a little extra cash or have the convenience of being right in the middle of the action. Food, street food, local restaurants, and supermarkets. Once you've figured out where you'll sleep, it's time to think about food. In Stockholm, eating out at restaurants can quickly add up, but there are plenty of ways to enjoy delicious meals on a budget. One of the best ways to save money on food is to enjoy street food. Stockholm has a great street food scene, with vendors selling everything from hot dogs and meatballs to Swedish pastries like cinnamon buns. A Swedish hot dog, or korv, is both affordable and tasty, and you can find them at street stands around the city. These quick bites are perfect for when you're on the go, or just want to experience some of the local flavors without spending a lot of money. If you're looking for a sit-down meal, but don't want to break the bank, you can find many local restaurants that offer affordable and delicious dishes. Many Swedish eateries serve simple, yet tasty food, like Swedish meatballs, herring, or gravlax. A great option is to visit smaller family-owned restaurants or local, which are often cheaper than tourist spots. Many of these places offer a daily special, which can be an excellent deal for a full meal. Supermarkets are also a great way to save money on food in Stockholm. You can buy fresh ingredients and prepare your own meals, which will cost much less than eating out. Stores like ICA Lidl and Coop are popular for offering reasonably priced groceries. Stock up on bread, cheese, fruit, and simple ingredients for sandwiches, salads, or pasta dishes. Not only does this save you money, but it also gives you the flexibility to eat whenever you want, without worrying about restaurant hours. If you're staying in an Airbnb with a kitchen, or a hostel with a communal kitchen, cooking your own meals is a smart way to stretch your budget further. You can even pack snacks for when you're out exploring the city, saving you from grabbing overpriced food at tourist hotspots. Having a picnic in one of Stockholm's many parks is a great way to enjoy a meal with a beautiful view without spending a lot of money. Free or low-cost activities. Now that we've covered accommodation and food, let's talk about the best ways to experience Stockholm's culture without breaking your budget. The good news is that Stockholm offers a ton of free or low-cost activities that will allow you to experience the city's charm without spending much. One of the best free things to do in Stockholm is to take a walk through its picturesque neighborhoods. Gamlestan, the Old Town, is a must-see with its narrow cobblestone streets, colorful buildings, and historical landmarks. Walking through this area feels like stepping back in time, and it won't cost you a thing. Another beautiful area to explore is Djurgården, an island that is home to several museums, parks, and the famous Skansen Open-Air Museum. You can spend hours strolling around the island, taking in the sights, and enjoying nature all for free. Stockholm also offers several museums that are free to visit on certain days, or have a low entry fee. The Nationalmuseum, for example, is free to enter on Friday evenings, making it a great option if you're in the city at the right time. The Moderna Museet is another cultural gem that offers free admission to its permanent collections. If you're interested in Swedish history, the Swedish History Museum offers free entry to its permanent exhibitions, where you can learn about the Vikings and the country's past. Public parks and beaches are also great places to spend time without spending any money. Rålambshovsparken, located by the water, it's a popular park in Stockholm where locals gather to relax, play sports, or enjoy a picnic. In the summer, you can also visit one of Stockholm's public beaches, such as Smedsuddsbadet, where you can swim or just relax by the water. Stockholm is often considered an expensive city, but with a little planning and smart choices, it's definitely possible to have a wonderful weekend on a $500 budget. By choosing affordable accommodations, eating at local spots, or cooking your own meals, and taking advantage of free or low-cost cultural experiences, you can experience all that this beautiful city has to offer without breaking the bank. So, the next time you're thinking of visiting Stockholm, remember it's all about finding the right balance. With just a bit of effort, you can make your $500 stretch further than you think. Happy travels. Swedish cuisine on a $500 budget? Sweden offers some of the most mouth-watering dishes in Europe without breaking the bank. You might think that a country known for its high standard of living would also have high-priced food, but that's not the case. Whether you're re-enjoying a quick snack on the street or sitting down for a hearty meal in a local restaurant, there are plenty of budget-friendly options to explore. Swedish cuisine is all about simple ingredients, rich flavors, and hearty meals that won't empty your wallet. So let us dive into how you can experience the best of Swedish food on a $500 budget. Budget-friendly food options. Swedish cuisine might not be as internationally famous as Italian or French, but it has its own unique charm, featuring fresh and flavorful ingredients. From fish dishes to delicious pastries, there's something for every taste, and it doesn't have to cost much. One of the most iconic Swedish dishes is herring. This fish is often pickled and served with various sides, such as potatoes or bread. It's a staple of Swedish cuisine and can be found in most restaurants or at food markets. Herring is both affordable and delicious, especially when paired with a cold beer or schnapps. Another must-try dish is gravlax, which is salmon cured with sugar, salt, and dill. Gravlax is typically served with mustard sauce and bread, making for a simple yet satisfying meal. These dishes are often available at local markets or can be found at a variety of casual eateries for a reasonable price. Then there's Swedish meatballs, a dish that's become famous around the world. These small, tender meatballs are served with lingonberry jam and creamy mashed potatoes. Swedish meatballs are a comfort food favorite, and many affordable restaurants or food stalls offer them on their menu. You can easily find a filling portion of meatballs for a reasonable price in most casual dining spots in Sweden. When it comes to pastries, Sweden excels at offering delightful treats that are both cheap and tasty. One of the most beloved is the kanelbulle, or cinnamon bun. This sweet, spiced pastry is a common snack for Swedes, and it's widely available in bakeries across the country. It's perfect for an afternoon snack or as a quick breakfast, and it won't cost you more than a few dollars. Another favorite is the semla, a cardamom bun filled with whipped cream and almond paste.
Oh, wow.
While more popular during the winter months, semla is a must-try pastry if you happen to visit during that time. Street food and casual eateries. If you're looking for cheap eats while on the go, street food in Sweden is an excellent option. You'll find food trucks and stands offering a variety of delicious and budget-friendly meals. One of the best street food options is Swedish hot dogs, known as korv. These hot dogs are often served with mustard, ketchup, and other toppings, making for a quick and inexpensive meal. They're commonly found at food stalls around Stockholm and other cities, and they make for a great snack when you're exploring the city. Another popular street food is falafel. While not originally Swedish, falafel has become a favorite in Sweden, especially in major cities. These fried chickpea balls are typically served in pita bread with vegetables and sauces. It's a filling meal that's both affordable and satisfying, making it a great choice for anyone on a budget. You'll find falafel vendors in busy areas, offering tasty meals that won't cost much. In addition to street food, there are many casual eateries in Sweden that offer affordable meals. These places serve up a variety of traditional Swedish dishes and international cuisine, but at a fraction of the price you'd pay at high-end restaurants. Look for lunch specials, as many places offer discounted meals during midday hours. You'll also find local serving sandwiches, soups, and salads, perfect for a light and affordable meal. Even in major cities like Stockholm, you can enjoy a delicious lunch for under $10 if you know where to go. Grocery shopping hacks. If you want to stretch your $500 even further, consider grocery shopping for some of your meals. Swedish supermarkets like ICA, Lidl, and Coop offer a wide range of affordable products. Buying fresh ingredients and preparing your own meals is an easy way to save money while still enjoying great food. Some essentials that are both cheap and delicious include potatoes, eggs, bread, and cheese. Potatoes are a staple in Swedish cooking and can be used in many different ways. From mashed potatoes to potato salad or baked potatoes, eggs are another inexpensive protein source that can be used in a variety of meals, whether you're making an omelet or just boiling them for a quick snack. You can also pick up Swedish crisp bread, a thin, crunchy bread that's perfect for spreading butter, cheese, or even herring. It's very affordable and can be a great base for simple meals or snacks. If you're planning to make a meal from scratch, grab some fresh vegetables, herbs, and meats like chicken or beef. Swedes also love their dairy products, so you'll find plenty of affordable milk, yogurt, and cheese options to include in your meals. Many supermarkets also have ready-to-go frozen meals, which are a good budget option if you're in a rush or want a hassle-free dinner. These meals are typically hearty, filling, and low cost, making them a practical choice when you're trying to stay on a budget. I remember my first experience trying Swedish food on a budget. I was walking around Stockholm, just taking in the sights, when I stumbled upon a small food stand selling hot dogs and meatballs. The aroma was so inviting, and I was hungry after a long day of sightseeing. I decided to try the Swedish hot dog, or korv, and it was surprisingly cheap. For just a few bucks, I got a delicious hot dog with all the classic toppings. It was simple, but the flavors were amazing, and I couldn't believe how affordable it was. Later, I found a small cafe offering Swedish meatballs for an even better price. I ordered the meatballs with mashed potatoes and lingonberry jam, and it turned out to be one of the best meals I had during my trip. Not only was it delicious, but it was also filling, and the cost was incredibly reasonable. I was able to enjoy traditional Swedish dishes without worrying about my budget. It was a reminder that eating on a budget in Sweden doesn't mean you have to miss out on the country's best food. Whether it's picking up a hot dog from a street vendor sitting down for a comforting plate of meatballs, or preparing your own meals with ingredients from the local supermarket, there are endless ways to enjoy Swedish cuisine without breaking the bank. Swedish cuisine offers a variety of dishes that are both delicious and affordable. From herring and gravlax to Swedish meatballs and pastries, you can enjoy authentic flavors without spending a lot of money. Street food, casual eateries, and grocery shopping provide plenty of opportunities to keep your food costs down. While still indulging in the country's best dishes, the little planning and a sense of adventure, you can easily enjoy the flavors of Sweden on a $500 budget. So, the next time you find yourself in Sweden, don't hesitate to dive into the local food scene. You'll be amazed at how much you can enjoy without emptying your wallet. The Swedish concept of Lagom, moderation and balance in Sweden, the idea of Lagom is key to understanding their culture. This simple but powerful concept revolves around finding balance in life, not too much, not too little. It's about moderation and harmony, applying the principle of Lagom to all aspects of life. While there isn't a direct translation in English, it's often described as just enough or the right amount. In Swedish society, this mindset plays a major role in how people approach everything from work to leisure, dining to social interactions. Let's take a closer look at how this idea of balance shapes everyday life in Sweden. In Sweden, Lagom influences many daily routines, including work life, balance, eating habits, and even how people spend their free time. The concept encourages individuals to avoid extremes weather in terms of work, lifestyle, or material possessions, and instead focuses on finding a moderate path that feels right for each person. One of the most noticeable ways Lagom manifests is in the work-life balance. Swedish people are known for working hard, but they also know the importance of taking time to relax and enjoy life outside of work. The work week in Sweden is generally shorter than in many other countries, with most people working a standard 40-hour week, and many employers encourage taking vacation time. Swedes value time spent with family and friends, as well as time for hobbies and personal interests. The government also mandates generous parental leave and vacation policies, ensuring that individuals can balance their career and personal lives without feeling overwhelmed. This respect for balance helps create a sense of well-being, where people feel they can enjoy their work while still having time for other important aspects of their lives. When it comes to dining, Lagom plays a big role in how Swedes approach food. Unlike cultures that might focus on indulgence or excess, Swedish meals are generally about enjoying the right amount of food without overdoing it. Portions are often modest, but the food is well prepared and thoughtfully chosen. Meals are seen as a way to nourish the body and enjoy good company, not as an opportunity to eat to excess. For example, Swedish people are fond of their traditional fika coffee break with a light snack, like a cinnamon bun or a piece of cake. It's not about eating large amounts of food, but rather about taking a moment to pause, enjoy something sweet, and connect with others. Even in larger meals, there's a sense of moderation, with Swedes preferring to enjoy a smaller but satisfying meal rather than overindulging. When it comes to leisure, Swedes also find balance. There's a strong cultural emphasis on spending time outdoors, even in the colder months. Activities like hiking, skiing, or simply walking in nature are popular. But these are done in a way that encourages physical activity without the pressure of extreme competitiveness. Many Swedes love spending weekends in the countryside or near lakes, enjoying the quiet and peace of nature without feeling the need to constantly be doing something. The key here is balance. It's not about going overboard with activities, but about finding time for relaxation and connection with nature. How Lagom impacts social interactions. In terms of social interactions, Lagom encourages a balanced approach to communication. Swedes are known for being polite and respectful of others' personal space, but they also value honesty and straightforwardness. They're not ones for excessive small talk or overly intimate conversations right away. Instead, social interactions tend to be calm and unforced. The focus is on quality rather than quantity, meaning that while Swedes may not have a huge circle of friends, the friendships they do have are deep and meaningful. In larger social settings, Swedes tend to practice moderation as well. For example, at a party or gathering, they may not stay for hours on end or drink excessively. Instead, there is often an emphasis on enjoying the moment, having good conversations, and keeping things light. This approach ensures that social interactions remain positive and enjoyable, without becoming too overwhelming or exhausting for anyone involved. This concept of moderation also influences how Swedes make decisions. Whether it's choosing a career path, buying a home, or making personal investments, people are often guided by the principle of Lagom. It's not about going for the most extravagant or the cheapest option, but rather the one that feels balanced and sustainable in the long term. For instance, Swedes are known for valuing sustainability and responsible consumption. This is reflected in their choices to buy fewer but higher quality items, whether it's clothing, furniture, or even food. It's about living a life that feels right, not excessive and not lacking, but just enough to be happy and fulfilled. Real-life examples of Lagom in action. A great example of Lagom in action comes from a friend I met while traveling in Stockholm. She had recently moved to Sweden from the US and was still adjusting to the cultural differences. One day, she was telling me about her experience with work-life balance in Sweden. She explained that back home, she was used to working long hours, often skipping lunch or working late into the evening. But in Sweden, she quickly noticed how different things were. At her new job, her colleagues were very strict about taking their lunch break and leaving work on time. They encouraged her to take time off when needed, and didn't expect her to respond to emails after hours. At first, she thought it was odd, but soon she came to appreciate the idea of not overworking herself. She realized that this approach allowed her to be more productive during the workday, while also having the energy to enjoy her personal life. For her, this was Lagom finding the right balance between work and relaxation. Another example comes from a Swedish couple I met during my trip to the countryside. They told me how they made decisions about buying a home. They were both passionate about living sustainably, so they decided to buy a modest house in a quiet village instead of a larger, more expensive property in the city. They didn't want to spend their money on a big house that required too much maintenance, or would leave them with little time to enjoy life. Instead, they found a small, cozy home that fit their needs and gave them the freedom to spend time outdoors, traveling, and enjoying their hobbies. They felt they had found a perfect balance between comfort and happiness. This was their version of Lagom. Lagom is more than just a cultural concept. It's a way of life for Swedes. It's guiding them to live in balance and moderation. From work-life balance to social interactions, dining habits to leisure activities, Lagom helps Swedes avoid extremes and find peace and simplicity. The idea of just enough resonates throughout the country, making it easier for people to lead content, well-rounded lives. Whether it's finding the right amount of work, choosing a sustainable lifestyle, or enjoying a small meal with friends, Lagom offers a thoughtful approach to living that encourages contentment without excess. It's a lesson we can all learn from, and perhaps a way to live that might bring a little more balance to our own lives. The shocking taboo in Sweden: privacy, space, and nudity. Now, here's where things get a little strange. There's a taboo in Sweden that might make you uncomfortable, and it has everything to do with personal space and privacy. If you've ever traveled to Sweden or even researched the culture, you might have heard about the Swedish approach to personal space. But trust me, until you experience it for yourself, it's hard to truly understand just how different it is from other places in the world. Sweden has some interesting social norms that are, let's say, not quite what you'd expect, especially when it comes to the concept of nudity and personal boundaries. Let's dive into this fascinating side of Swedish culture. Privacy, space, and nudity first. Let's talk about personal space. In Sweden, respecting someone's personal space is taken very seriously. It's a social rule that most Swedes follow, and it extends to almost every aspect of life, from how close you stand to someone in line to how loudly you speak in public. If you're used to places where people are more comfortable with physical closeness or mind crowding, then the Swedish approach might take you by surprise. For example, in public places like buses, trains, or even waiting in line at a cafe, Swedes typically make a point to avoid standing too close to others. This idea is often referred to as personal space. While in many countries, people might stand next to you, sometimes even brushing against you without thinking twice. In Sweden, that's considered a breach of social etiquette. People here will give you plenty of room to breathe, and if you're talking to someone, they'll usually maintain a comfortable distance. It's not uncommon for Swedes to take a step back if you accidentally get too close to them. This is simply a cultural norm, and it's not meant to be rude. Just their way of respecting each other. Boundaries. Now, it is important to understand that this respect for personal space isn't about being unfriendly or standoffish. In fact, Swedes are generally friendly people, but they simply value their own space and privacy. This leads to one of the most surprising taboos: nudity. In many countries, nudity in public is considered something private, and off-limits people usually go to great lengths to cover up and avoid public exposure. But in Sweden, nudity is viewed very differently, especially in certain public settings. Public saunas, for example, are a common part of Swedish culture, and the Swedish approach to nudity in saunas might be a shock to some visitors. Nudity in Swedish culture: in Sweden, it's perfectly normal to be naked in saunas and spas. In fact, public saunas often expect you to be completely nude while using the facilities. This might seem strange to people from other parts of the world where nudity is considered inappropriate in public settings. However, in Sweden, this practice is about health and relaxation, and it's not seen as sexual or inappropriate in any way. The sauna experience is meant to be about purification and relaxation, and being naked is just a part of that. Everyone, men and women, will typically enter the sauna without clothes, and it's completely natural. Visitors from other countries who are used to more modest traditions might feel uncomfortable at first. But it's just the way things are done in Sweden. The same approach applies at public beaches. It's not uncommon to see people in Sweden enjoying the sun or swimming without clothing. While you may not find nudity at every beach, many of Sweden's public beaches have designated nudist areas where people can be free from swimsuits. This level of comfort with nudity is deeply ingrained in Swedish culture and reflects their overall attitude toward the human body. Nudity is not seen as something shameful. Rather, it's simply natural and part of enjoying life. Sweden versus other countries. To better understand this Swedish approach, let's compare it to how things are done in other countries. For example, in the United States, personal space is important, but it's not as rigid as it is in Sweden. In the US, people tend to have a larger comfort zone when it comes to standing near one another in public places, especially in crowded cities like New York. However, even in the US, nudity is almost always confined to private spaces like homes or changing rooms. The idea of being nude in public, like in a sauna or on a beach, is generally seen as inappropriate or even illegal in most places. Many Americans might be shocked at the idea of walking around a public beach without clothes. In contrast, Middle Eastern cultures often have very different views on personal space and nudity. In many Middle Eastern countries, personal space is highly respected, much like in Sweden, but the approach to nudity is vastly different. Nudity in public is almost always considered taboo and inappropriate in these cultures, where modesty is emphasized, particularly for women. The idea of being nude in public places such as beaches or saunas would be seen as highly offensive in most Middle Eastern countries. In Sweden, however, this concept is more relaxed, and nudity is often seen as part of a healthy lifestyle, especially in public non-sexual spaces like saunas. So, when you step into Swedish society, be prepared for these cultural differences. The emphasis on personal space and the casual acceptance of nudity might be shocking. But it's important to remember that these practices aren't about being disrespectful or improper. They are simply reflections of a culture that values freedom, comfort, and a healthy relationship with one's own body and personal boundaries. Travelers and locals reflect on the taboo. I remember a story from a friend who visited Sweden for the first time. He had always heard about how Swedes respect personal space, but he wasn't quite prepared for how it felt when he was there. He was in Stockholm, walking down the street, when a stranger accidentally brushed up against him. The person immediately took a step back, apologized, and gave him a lot of room. At first, my friend thought it was an odd reaction, but he soon realized it was just how things were done in Sweden. It was a small but powerful example of how much Swedes respect each other's space. Over time, he grew to appreciate the calm and respectful atmosphere that came with this approach. Another traveler shared their experience of visiting a Swedish spa for the first time. They were excited to try out the sauna, but when they arrived, they were surprised to see that everyone was naked, just relaxing and chatting. At first, they felt self-conscious and out of place, but soon they realized that no one was judging or paying attention to anyone else. It was simply a part of the culture, and they quickly became comfortable with the relaxed attitude toward nudity. By the end of their visit, they saw nudity in a different light, not as something shameful or awkward, but as a normal and natural practice. Sweden's approach to personal space and nudity is unlike many other countries. It can be surprising for visitors who aren't familiar with these cultural norms. The concept of personal space is deeply embedded in Swedish society, where standing too close to someone or invading their personal bubble is considered rude. Meanwhile, Sweden's relaxed attitude toward nudity in places like saunas and public beaches is another part of the culture that may feel shocking to outsiders. But in the end, these taboos are not about pushing boundaries. They about respecting each other's privacy and living in harmony with the world around you. So, if you ever find yourself in Sweden, keep an open mind and understand that these cultural practices are just part of what makes Sweden well Sweden. Respect for personal boundaries. Swedish social etiquette in Sweden. Respecting personal boundaries is a way of life. This includes everything from personal space to directness in conversation. Swedes take privacy seriously, and the way they interact with others is deeply influenced by their cultural values of independence, respect, and comfort. This might feel a bit different for visitors, especially if they come from places where social norms around personal space and physical contact are more relaxed. Understanding Swedish etiquette can help you navigate the social landscape and avoid any awkward situations. So, let us take a closer look at how Swedes maintain their boundaries and what that means for both locals and visitors. Social dynamics. Personal space in Sweden. The most noticeable aspect of Swedish social etiquette is the respect for personal space. In Sweden, this is one of the key principles when it comes to interacting with others. It's not just about physical distance. It's also about the unspoken rule that people give each other room to breathe, both in public and private settings. For example, if you're standing in line at a store or waiting for a bus, you'll notice that people tend to keep a fair distance from each other. Swedes generally avoid standing too close to strangers, and if you're sitting on public transport, you may find that people will leave empty seats between them and others, unless the situation is crowded. This concept of personal space extends beyond just physical distance. In conversations, Swedes are known for giving each other mental space too. This means they avoid interrupting others or imposing too much during a conversation. Swedes also value silence in social settings. It's not unusual for people to be comfortable with quiet moments, and it's not considered awkward. The absence of constant talking in social situations can be refreshing for some, but may feel strange to people from cultures where small talk is the norm. This approach helps people maintain their sense of individuality while being part of a community. Avoiding crowding or touching strangers. Another aspect of Swedish etiquette is their avoidance of crowding or touching strangers. While in many countries, it's common to shake hands or give someone a hug when meeting them, this is not always the case in Sweden. Swedes are generally more reserved, and physical contact is kept to a minimum. For instance, in a professional setting, it's not typical to greet someone with a hug or even a handshake, unless the situation specifically calls for it. A friendly nod or a simple HEJ is usually enough. When it comes to physical contact, it's also important to remember that Swedes value their personal space, and they're not fans of casual touching, especially with strangers. If you're in a crowd, don't be surprised if people maintain a comfortable distance and avoid brushing against others. This is especially noticeable in more public settings, like public transport or crowded events. In Sweden, it's not considered rude to avoid close contact with people you don't know. In fact, it's often seen as more respectful to keep your distance. Swedes also tend to avoid crowding others in social settings. This doesn't mean they're unfriendly. Rather, it reflects a cultural understanding that everyone needs their own space to feel comfortable. If you're sitting with a group of people at a table or in a waiting area, you will notice that they typically don't sit too close to each other, unless they re good friends or family. This respect for physical space helps everyone feel at ease and avoid the discomfort that can come with being in someone else's personal bubble. Cultural norms around public behavior, greetings. So in physical contact, Swedish greetings reflect their cultural values of simplicity and respect. As mentioned earlier, shaking hands is common, but it's usually done in a straightforward and professional way, especially in formal settings. Among friends or family, the greeting might just be a simple hug, but again, it's not overly warm or affectionate by some standards. Swedes typically greet strangers with the same level of enthusiasm that you might find in countries where physical contact is more common. For example, in many parts of the world, it's usual to greet someone with a kiss on the cheek or an enthusiastic hug. But in Sweden, this level of physical closeness is usually reserved for close family and friends. One of the cultural norms that might be surprising for visitors is how Swedes avoid excessive politeness or overly friendly behavior. In some cultures, people may use formal titles like sir or ma am when speaking to strangers. But in Sweden, people tend to use first names even with people they don't know very well. This creates a more relaxed, egalitarian atmosphere where everyone is treated equally. But it also means that there isn't much formality in interactions. Swedes tend to be more direct in their communication, which can sometimes come off as blunt to those from cultures where politeness is more focused on indirect communication. However, this directness is valued because it ensures clarity and avoids misunderstandings. In public behavior, Swedes tend to appreciate quiet and calm surroundings. For example, public places like libraries, trains, and even cafes are often quiet, and people will keep their voices low. It's considered disruptive and inconsiderate to speak loudly in public spaces, especially in confined places. This respect for quietness also extends to public spaces like parks and streets, where people enjoy having their own space without loud conversations or disruptive noise. Personal anecdote. A surprising experience with Swedish personal space. I remember my first visit to Sweden, where I was completely caught off guard by the Swedish approach to personal space. I was in a cafe in Stockholm waiting in line to order when I accidentally stood a little too close to the person in front of me. The woman in front of me quickly took a step forward, leaving a noticeable gap between us, and looked at me briefly before turning away. It wasn't a rude gesture, just a polite, non-verbal reminder that I was too close for comfort. At first, I didn't fully understand what had happened. In many countries, people wouldn't think twice about standing a little closer in line. But in Sweden, this gesture was simply about respecting her personal space. Later that day, I was walking around the city, and I noticed something similar on public transportation. I was on a crowded bus, and although there were plenty of empty seats, people still avoided sitting directly next to others if they didn't need to. seemed like an unspoken rule. People would rather stand or wait for the next seat than sit too close to a stranger. At first, I thought it was a bit strange. But soon I realized that this wasn't just an odd quirk. It was a deeply ingrained part of Swedish social etiquette. It made me appreciate how much respect there is for personal boundaries in Sweden, and how this respect helps create a more comfortable and peaceful environment for everyone. Swedish social etiquette is all about respect for personal boundaries. From maintaining physical space to being direct but polite in conversation, Swedes value their independence and their ability to enjoy their own personal space. Whether it's avoiding crowding others, refraining from excessive physical contact, or keeping interactions calm and respectful, these cultural norms help create an environment where people can feel comfortable and at ease. While it may take some time to adjust if you come from a culture with different norms, understanding Swedish social etiquette is key to blending in and making the most of your time in this beautiful country. By respecting personal space and practicing directness without overstepping boundaries, you'll find that the Swedish way of socializing is both simple and considerate. Sweden's progressive society, inclusivity, and social justice. Sweden is not just about beauty, it's nature, and stunning women. It's also one of the most progressive countries when it comes to inclusivity, it's gender equality, and social justice. Over the years, Sweden has become a global leader in progressive policies, making significant strides in creating a society that's fair and just for everyone. From women in politics to LGBTQ rights, Sweden has shown that building a more inclusive society isn't just possible, but essential for growth and prosperity. In this section, we'll explore how Sweden became a leader in progressive movements, country's social policies, and how it ranks globally in areas like gender equality and LGBTQ+ rights. Facts and statistics. Sweden's ranking on global social indices. When it comes to social progress, Sweden consistently ranks near the top on global indices. One of the most notable areas is gender equality. Sweden has been at the forefront of the gender equality movement for decades. It shows in how women and men are treated in the workplace and at home. According to the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report, Sweden has consistently ranked in the top 10 for gender equality for many years. The country's strong laws and policies around gender equality ensure that women have equal access to education, healthcare, and career opportunities. Sweden also has one of the highest proportions of women in government, with women holding significant roles in politics and leadership. When it comes to LGBTQ rights, Sweden is also a trailblazer. The country was one of the first in the world to legalize same-sex marriage back in 2009. Sweden has comprehensive laws protecting LGBTQ+ individuals from discrimination, and there is widespread social acceptance of the LGBTQ community. It's not just about legal protections. Sweden's society is known for its inclusivity, with many public events like Stockholm Pride being celebrated with great enthusiasm. The country's progressive stance on LGBTQ rights has made it one of the most welcoming places for LGBTQ+ individuals in the world. Sweden also ranks highly on social justice indices, focusing on fairness, equality, and opportunities for everyone, regardless of background. Sweden's social welfare system provides universal healthcare, free education, and generous social benefits to its citizens, which contributes to a more equitable society where everyone has a fair chance at success. The country's commitment to reducing inequality and providing support for those in need makes it one of the most progressive and socially just nations in the world. How Sweden became a leader in progressive movements. Sweden didn't become a progressive leader overnight. The country's commitment to social justice and inclusivity has evolved over many years. The roots of Sweden's progressive policies can be traced back to the early 20th century, when the country began developing its strong social welfare system. After World War II, Sweden established a universal healthcare system and expanded its public services, providing a strong foundation for equality in access to resources. This shift towards equality was a response to the challenges of the war and a recognition that everyone deserves basic rights and opportunities, regardless of their background or economic status. In the 1960s and 1970s, Sweden began making significant strides in gender equality. During this time, Swedish women fought for and won the right to equal pay, equal access to education, and equal opportunities in the workforce. The Swedish government also began implementing family-friendly policies, like paid parental leave, to ensure that both men and women could participate equally in work and family life. These efforts laid the groundwork for the gender-equal society Sweden is known for today. In the 1980s and 1990s, Sweden became one of the first countries to fully legalize same-sex sexual activity and offer full legal recognition to same-sex couples. The country's commitment to LGBTQ+ rights was further solidified in the early 2000s when it legalized same-sex marriage. Sweden's progressive stance on LGBTQ+ rights has made it a beacon of inclusivity for other countries to look up to. Examples of Sweden's progress in social justice, Sweden's progressive nature, can be seen in many aspects of society, especially when it comes to gender equality, family leave, and LGBTQ rights. One of the most significant examples of Sweden's commitment to gender equality is the country's approach to family leave. Sweden offers one of the most generous parental leave systems in the world. Parents can share 480 days of paid leave per child, with the government covering most of the salary during this time. This policy encourages both parents to take time off work, which helps to level the playing field. When it comes to caregiving responsibilities, by giving both men and women equal opportunities to take parental leave, Sweden ensures that childcare is not solely seen as a woman's responsibility. This has had a huge impact on gender equality in the workplace, as it allows women to stay in their jobs without facing discrimination for taking time off to care for their children. Sweden's focus on gender equality in the workplace is also reflected in the country's policies on pay and career opportunities. Sweden has strict laws requiring employers to ensure equal pay for equal work, and the government offers incentives to companies that promote gender diversity. As a result, Sweden has one of the highest proportions of women in the workforce and in leadership roles. In fact, Sweden is one of the few countries where women make up nearly half of the board members in major corporations. When it comes to LGBTQ rights, Sweden has been a trailblazer for decades. The country was one of the first to decriminalize homosexuality in 1944. It became one of the first to allow same-sex marriage in 2009. In addition to legal protections, Sweden's society is welcoming and inclusive. It is not uncommon to see public displays of LGBTQ pride during events like Stockholm Pride, where millions gather to celebrate equality and inclusivity. The country has also introduced laws to allow gender-neutral marriage and transgender rights, further cementing its commitment to human rights for all people, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. Sweden's progressive approach to social justice can sometimes be a bit of a culture shock, especially if you come from a more conservative country. For example, in some parts of the world, talking openly about gender equality or LGBTQ+ rights might still feel controversial. But in Sweden, these conversations are just part of everyday life. In fact, Sweden's attitudes towards gender equality are so normalized that a tourist might overhear a discussion about equal pay between two strangers at a cafe, and no one would bat an eye. Compare this to a country where people are still fighting for equal rights for women or the LGBTQ+ community. And it's clear that Sweden is ahead of the game. It's almost like Sweden is the cool, progressive cousin at the family reunion, making everyone else wonder why they didn't think of these ideas sooner. In Sweden, it's common to see public displays of affection between same-sex couples. And the concept of gender-neutral bathrooms is widely accepted, even in small towns. Meanwhile, in some other countries, these same issues are still fiercely debated, with some even passing laws to limit LGBTQ+ rights or restricting discussions about gender in schools. Sweden's willingness to embrace change and support inclusivity can sometimes feel like a breath of fresh air for those coming from places where progress moves a little slower. Sweden is a shining example of how a country can embrace progressive policies that promote inclusivity, gender equality, and social justice. The country has made great strides in creating a society where everyone, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, or background, can live and thrive. From generous family leave to strong protections for LGBTQ+ individuals, Sweden is leading the way in building a fair and just society. The country's commitment to social justice has made it a model for other nations to follow, showing that a more equal, inclusive society is not only possible but essential for long-term success. Recap. Living in Sweden on a $500 budget, so can you really survive on $500 in Sweden? The answer is yes, but it takes a little planning and a willingness to embrace the simplicity of Swedish life. By knowing where to go and what to avoid, you can experience all that Sweden has to offer without blowing your budget. From the stunning landscapes to the beautiful people and vibrant culture, there are plenty of ways to enjoy this incredible country without spending a fortune. We've talked about a lot of things that make Sweden unique, from its beautiful women and affordable food options to its fascinating cultural norms like the Swedish approach to personal space and nudity. Despite its reputation for being an expensive country, Sweden can be surprisingly affordable if you make smart choices about where to stay, how to eat, and what activities to enjoy. The key is to prioritize your spending, seek out budget-friendly accommodations, and take advantage of the many free or low-cost cultural experiences available. Accommodations. Whether you opt for an Airbnb, stay in a budget-friendly hostel, or even try couch surfing, there are plenty of ways to keep your accommodation costs low. Even in the capital city of Stockholm, you can find affordable places to stay if you book in advance and avoid tourist-heavy areas. Food. When it comes to eating, you don't have to splurge on fancy restaurants to enjoy great Swedish food. Street food, casual eateries, and supermarkets offer plenty of tasty and inexpensive options. Traditional dishes like Swedish meatballs, gravlax, and herring are all affordable and can be found at local markets or in smaller restaurants, helping you enjoy authentic Swedish flavors without breaking the bank. Transportation. Sweden's public transportation system is efficient and affordable. Whether you're taking the metro, bus, or train, getting around on a budget is easy. Buying a day pass or using local transport apps can save you money on transportation costs. Even in bigger cities like Stockholm, getting around is simple and reasonably priced. But living in Sweden on a budget isn't just about cutting costs. It's also about embracing the Swedish lifestyle, which is all about simplicity, nature, and wellness. By living on a budget here, you'll find yourself appreciating the smaller, quieter moments that make life so special. Whether it's a walk through a park, a day spent by the water, or just enjoying a fika with friends, Sweden's slower pace of life allows you to focus on what truly matters. One of the most amazing things about living on a budget in Sweden is how it encourages a mindful lifestyle. You learn to enjoy simple pleasures like nature, good food, and meaningful conversations, instead of focusing on accumulating stuff or constantly running from one expensive activity to another. You'll find yourself connecting with the environment around you in a more profound way. In Sweden, it's about appreciating quality over quantity. The focus on wellness, balance, and enjoying the basics allows you to feel more content and present in your day-to-day life. So, yes, you can live in Sweden on $500, but you may also find that this way of living brings unexpected rewards. Instead of feeling restricted by a budget, you might end up feeling more connected to the things that truly make life enjoyable. Sweden's natural beauty, healthy lifestyle, and thoughtful approach to living create an atmosphere where people can thrive without feeling the pressure to constantly spend or chase material possessions. Finally, there's so much more to uncover about Sweden and other hidden gems around the world. Each place has its own unique charm, and every budget-friendly adventure offers new experiences and surprises. Stick around for the next adventure because, trust me, you won't want to miss it. There are so many fascinating places to explore, and I can't wait to share them with you. So, whether it's Sweden or another part of the world, get ready to discover more incredible cultures, beautiful landscapes, and unique experiences, all without breaking the bank. Living in Sweden on a budget has been an eye-opening experience, and it shows that you don't need to spend a fortune to enjoy what this beautiful country has to offer. Whether you're walking through the picturesque streets of Stockholm, enjoying a quiet fika, or experiencing the incredible Swedish culture, there's so much to see and do without breaking the bank. The key is knowing where to stay, what to eat, and how to embrace Sweden's approach to life simplicity, wellness, and a strong respect for personal space. We've explored how you can stay in affordable accommodations like hostels or Airbnb, and how enjoying street food or cooking your own meals can save you money while letting you experience the true flavors of Swedish cuisine. Plus, getting around Sweden is easy and inexpensive, with efficient public transportation systems in place. All of these things make living in Sweden on a budget not only possible, but enjoyable. But beyond the money-saving tips, living in Sweden also teaches you a lot about the Swedish way of life. The culture of Lagom, finding balance in everything, helps you appreciate the small things, like a quiet moment in nature or the joy of a simple meal shared with friends. The way Swedes respect personal space, their straightforward yet respectful approach to social interactions, also opens your eyes to a different way of living that values both independence and connection. It's not just about surviving on $500 in Sweden. It's about immersing yourself in a culture that values balance, wellness, and simplicity. By focusing on what truly matters, you can live a fulfilling life, even on a budget. So how do you feel about living in Sweden on $500? Would you thrive in this environment? Or would you struggle to adapt to the cultural differences, like the strong respect for personal space and the relaxed approach to life? Sweden's culture of respect, simplicity, and balance may seem strange at first. But once you get used to it, it offers a refreshing break from the hustle and bustle of modern life. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Sweden's way of life, especially the cultural norms that might seem unusual to outsiders. Do you think you could embrace the Swedish way of respecting personal space? Or would it be a challenge for you? If this video has opened your eyes to a new perspective on Sweden, or made you think about traveling in a different way, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's looking for a change of scenery or seeking a new adventure. You might just change the way they look at the world, and who knows? Maybe they'll be inspired to visit Sweden or take a leap into a completely different way of living. After all, there's so much more out there than we often realize. And sharing new ideas and experiences can help everyone open their minds to new possibilities. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. Your thoughts and experiences are always welcome,